Good evening, everyone. How's everybody's night going? Happy Friday. The weekend is finally here. Hopefully, you all had a good week. Hopefully, you're all enjoying your evening. What is going on? Make sure you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe, share this channel out with everyone you know. I would greatly appreciate it. I got my guy, Rob, aka Robinho, on the show today from Pinstripe Chronicles Podcast. If you guys already know, most of you already know who he is. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe to his channel or subscribe to their channel. Let's continue growing their channel. They do an amazing job there. So over there at the Pinstripe Chronicles Podcast. So make sure you all go out there and support them. Let's say what's up to the chat real quick. We got a few people in the chat right now. So we have Jonathan. We got CT Cards. Rob's new best friend, Gusto, is in the building. And Rob waves. What Rob says hello to Gusto. So sounds
Hi,
like
Gusto.
Hi, Gusto. Stephen B, what is going on? Who else we got in the chat? We got Ken. We got Jack. Going down the list here, man. Chat's on fire. It's just going by. And yeah, he says, "Oh no, it's Rob. Sorry, bro. My mistake. The trolls were live last night."
It's all good, Gusto, but I'm here to get my payback, so to speak. No, it's all good. I understand. Me and NFE talked about it. There's no ill will yet.
Yeah, yet. No, it was hilarious, man. Because I just like they said Rob got timed out. I was like, wait, Rob got timed out? What are you talking about? So, yeah, and I know Jonathan's bringing up Presley might get traded. He thinks he would only accept trades to Seattle, Texas, or Miami. I think Presley's going to stay in Houston personally. And then just to touch up on that, and I know the Yankees were looking into, amongst other teams, we're looking at Max Scherzer, but I highly doubt the Yankees sign Max Scherzer. Let's be real here.
Would it make sense? Because they're trying to trade Stroman, and because they have a surplus of starters, so what purpose would Scherzer really serve on the team unless they were potentially moving two starters? Like if Schmidt was involved in a deal, which I don't think that's happening. They're probably just checking in on him in case they need an extra starter. Maybe he comes out of the bullpen, but I think Scherzer wants to start. But I mean, you can never have too much pitching, as they say. Mm-hmm. I just don't see the fit because they're trying to move Stroman right now as we speak. So adding another starter would kind of be redundant.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, but this is what teams generally do. They'll check in on everybody that's available. They'll do their due diligence, but I personally just don't see a need there or a fit. I mean, like you said, they're trying to trade Stroman away, so they're not gonna overpay for Scherzer. So I don't think that's gonna happen. But we are gonna talk about predictions. I mean, we are almost a couple of months away from opening day. Spring training is right around the corner. Your first game is in less than a month, so it's going to be an interesting season. I feel like the National League side is definitely way stronger than the American League. I feel like the American League got a little bit weaker, but it's still going to be really interesting how the season plays out. I mean, from what it's looking like right now, if you're looking at it on paper, the Dodgers are probably going to take it again. It's looking that way, but the season needs to still be played. You never know what's going to happen because injuries happen all the time. So, you never. Yeah, I mean, things could change really quickly. So, but we'll see what happens. But let's just start off with the AL East, man. The division that most of us are familiar with. How do you see that division playing out, Rob? Like, do you see the Yankees finishing at the top of the division, and then who follows? Second, third, fourth. What do you got?
Well, as it stands right now, and I know this is Yankee bias, but I do think we have the best team right now. that could be completely different in a week, because if Toronto keeps spending money and they go and get a guy like Alonso and get another starter, that could change. So, as of right now, I do think the Yankees are the team to beat in the AL East, and I would probably go Baltimore 2, Boston 3. You could really toss up Boston and Toronto right now, and Tampa Bay probably at the bottom of the list just because they seem to be going in a different direction, although I never count them out. I could say they're the fifth best team right now. They could end up being first for all we know. They're just a very strange team. Apparently, it's getting close. I use that word close in quotations because we were just talking about Presley. It's close that he could be going to the Cubs. He has to approve it because he's got that no trade clause, which there's a no trade clause, so a player has to approve the trade. It's a crazy concept, but he might be going to the Cubs. So we'll see if what goes on there, because that would affect the American League and potentially affect what the Cubs could do moving forward, because maybe now if they make that move, do they go spend on a bat that a guy like Bregman that would take away from Boston? So that kind of all ties together and how the American League could shape out. Right now, I do think it's the Yankees and at the top, but Toronto could easily take that top spot if they go and add like a Jack Flaherty and a Pete Alonso. They've got a really good team if they make those two moves. So Yankees now, but I got to see how it is by the time we go to camp.
Right. Yeah, I'm right there with you. So my list from first to last is Yankees at the top. Then I got Baltimore. I know Baltimore, they didn't really make any additions. They they did they didn't bring back Corbin Burns. Obviously, Anthony Santander went to Toronto, but their offense, I think, is going to be fine. Their pitching is the big question mark for Baltimore, but I still have them finishing second place. Red Sox finishing third. The Red Sox added, Walker Buehler. They traded for Garrett Crochet. So that starting pitching is improved, and they also have that guy Cutter Crawford, who was he was a pain to deal with, for the Yankees. That guy, I know who he was, and he was just owning the Yankees whenever he started. So then I have Toronto, but Toronto could surprise. Toronto could surprise. Yeah, they did add Santander finally. They added somebody because every time they were in on a player, some other team would swoop them in. And problem with Toronto is that, yes, they have money. They could spend the money. The ownership can. But you look at Corbin Burns, he said that he had offers from teams like San Francisco and Toronto, but it's just he chose Arizona because he lives there and for tax reasons too. So, Toronto is like New York, an expensive city to live in. Same with San Fran, it's just super expensive out there. So, I think, Toronto did miss out, and they were missing out big time. But I got the Rays finishing last as well. The Rays really haven't done anything this offseason. They did add that lefty reliever that the Blue Jays DFA'd. So that was like a couple of days. I think that went down like 1 or 2 days ago. So yeah, I got Yankees finishing at the top of the division. Then you got Baltimore, Red Sox, Toronto, and then the Rays. So yeah, that's I'm kind of right there with you, but I don't know if Toronto supposedly Toronto was in talks with Pete Alonso. There was like advancements. There was an advance in talks, but it sounds like it cooled off. If they're adding Alonso, you got to wonder what they're going to do with Vlad Guerrero then. Vlad Guerrero Jr., because that's the part that I'm a little confused about.
Well, from what most reports are saying, they would actually put him back at third. If they do get Alonso, maybe they split time at DH, because they've got. You think what that infield will look like with Alonso / Guerrero at first. I think Clement is in the shuffle there. They still have Bo Bichette. Mm-hmm. They have Davis Schneider still. They just picked up Jimenez from Cleveland, so we can't forget about that. For him.
Yeah.
they got a good team. They got Springer still. They got Dalton Varsho. And now Santander, but that's a guy that can also DH. So that's a loaded lineup. I think they'll find a way to make it work because Vlad does like playing third. He's not very good, but hey, if you can fit that bat of Alonso into your lineup, they'll certainly do it. Their defense will probably take a big hit, but they're going to score a heck of a lot of runs with the big three of Alonso, Santander, and Vladdy in that lineup. Not to mention having Jimenez and Springer, Bo Bichette, who could really bounce back this year with all that top-heavy lineup. He could be batting sixth for that team and put together a phenomenal year. So if they get Alonso, it's going to be scary. But I still don't know if their pitching is good enough right now. That's why I think if they do get Alonso, they have to go get a Jack Flaherty or make another move for a solid starter. Because right now that pitching staff, the bullpen's okay. They picked up Garcia and Hoffman. Mm-hmm. But if they get, like, Scherzer, that'd be a decent ad. But if they went and got Flaherty, and they have the money to do it, to get Flaherty and Alonso, they're going to be a threat. So, like I said, for now, I still think that Boston has an edge over them. But if they added an Alonso and a Flaherty, they immediately leapfrog Boston and become a major threat for that top spot.
Absolutely. If they were to make some of those additions, like Alonso, like you mentioned, Flaherty, which I am surprised Flaherty is still a free agent. I mean, he actually had a great performance in the postseason. Did well for the Dodgers. I mean, when the Dodgers traded for him, he did well for him. During the regular season, and then also, during the postseason too. So I am surprised to see Jack Flaherty still a free agent, and he's not a bad pitcher by any means. I was hoping, if the Yankees didn't get Max Fried, I would have said, maybe go after Jack Flaherty. I like Flaherty. I think he's a good pitcher. But yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah, with the bats that they have, I mean, yeah, they could overtake Boston for the third place spot. But their pitching, like you said, is questionable. Their starting rotation. I mean, they did lose Suzuki to the Astros, so there is a little bit of there are some question marks about their rotation. If they added Corbin Burns, if they were able to add Corbin Burns, oh man, that would have been a little bit of a scary rotation. So, but I think right now though, if everything is what it is right now, I would say Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Rays. I think you and I are on the same page on that one.
Yeah.
Cool. And folks in the chat, like, drop your predictions. What do you all think? Let me know. Real quick before we move to the AL Central, the only thing with the Yankees for me is just it's not so much their pitching. I think their pitching is going to be fine. Defense, they improved, but I do think their bats is a little bit of a question mark. But if they can be productive and get timely hits, I mean, the situational hitting is the biggest thing, really. If these guys could get on base, score runs, and not rely so much on the home run ball, I mean, this lineup can be pretty decent. But there's a few guys that need to come through, and those few guys are guys like Volpe. We got to see what Dominguez is going to look like. Wells needs to step it up in his second year, so. I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on Dominguez. It's going to be it's his rookie season. So, I don't want to, if he could hit 250, 20 home runs, sign me up, for Dominguez.
I mean, yeah, I'm excited for a lot of the guys in the lineup that we need to step up. Volpe, Wells, Dominguez specifically. If those guys have just solid years, this lineup is going to be really good, but I still think we are a bat away from being a really formidable lineup because right now there's a hole at third base or second. It's not decided where they're going to put Jazz. Although he's been working out at third, he's also been having some highlight plays and practicing at second, so he can play really any of those two positions, but they need to get another bat. And whoever that is, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows at this point, but they are a bat away, I think, from this being a really, really solid lineup. It's not going to match what it was last year. You're not replacing Juan Soto, but it still has the potential to be a really good lineup that can win you 94 plus games again and get you at the top of the AL and AL East and the American League in general. So, but they got to get another bat. They can't go into the season with DJ LeMahieu, and I'll say that until I'm blue in the face, as blue as my Powerade here. They cannot go into the season with DJ LeMahieu as their starting third baseman. Then you're just asking for trouble if you do that, and it's a recipe for disaster. He's way past his prime, and it's a damn shame, but that's the move that they got to get a third baseman and just make DJ a utility player off the bench.
Yeah, DJ's best days are behind him, and it's not so much. You know what? It's not so much because of his age. It was his injuries. Those injuries piled up. If it wasn't for those injuries, I think his bat would be better. But unfortunately, just those injuries to his toe, his hip, that derailed him, man, and that derailed him big time. And I am right there with you. I like DJ LeMahieu, but his best days are behind him, unfortunately. And he cannot be the starting third baseman. I mean, they absolutely have to go out and get a bat. I hope they know that. I think they know that, but that is, that is the one hole that they have right now as far as offense goes, is just getting that next bat. So the market is limited too. That's the other thing. I know Bregman's out there. I know we've discussed that a lot, but I just, I don't think the Yankees aren't going to get him. I mean, it's as simple as that. They are not going to get him. I know some fans want him, but it's not going to happen. But let's see what happens with third base. We'll hopefully in these next 3 weeks, they make something happen. And at this point, if they're going to go in-house, I'd rather them go Peraza over DJ at this point. Peraza's, he's out of options at this point. So we don't even know what the Yankees are going to do with him right now. So, but we'll see, man. We'll see. But moving to the AL Central. So, you got the Guardians, Royals, Tigers, Twins, White Sox. First place in the division, man. AL Central should be interesting. I don't think it's going to be I don't think it'll be the same result, because 2024 it was the Guardians that finished at the top, and the Royals finished second. What I think those two teams flip for 2025.
No, the White Sox are winning it. Yeah, I think Kansas City takes that division. I think Detroit's going to finish second. I don't know. I don't think Cleveland's done enough. They traded Naylor. They traded Jimenez. They did bring in Santana, but they got Bieber back and they brought in Sewell for the bullpen. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they got rid of two of their best players. I don't know what their plan is, unless they're trying to get another bat. But are they in on Bregman? But they have Ramirez at third. Would they put Bregman at second? What they're doing doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So right now I'm going to go Kansas City, Detroit, Cleveland, and obviously Chicago's in last. And I don't know why I just blanked on the final team.
You got the
Twins. Yeah, the
Twins.
The Twins could surprise everybody. They have a good roster, but they get hurt every single year. If Correa misses more time, their offense is going to take a hit. So, plus they're in a transition. They're trying to cut payroll. So that's the order I would go right now: Kansas City, Detroit, Cleveland, Minnesota, Chicago.
Yeah, you know what? Detroit Tigers, they got a team. They got some, they got some bats. They added Gleyber Torres. They got some guys on that team that could hit. So their offense isn't actually too bad. Their pitching is actually not that bad either. I mean, obviously they got Skubal. That's their ace. But their starting rotation and their bullpen, I mean, they have a pretty decent pitching staff. So yeah, I see where you're coming from with them. You had them finishing second, right? I could see that. I could see that, because really I was gonna go Kansas City at the top, then Cleveland, then the Tigers, Twins, then the White Sox. So that's what I had originally, but there could be a scenario that, yeah, you're right. The Tigers could finish second place at the in the AL Central. The AL Central is always tricky, so you never know what's going to happen. The Twins, for example, they had it, man. They had the wild card spot and then just blew it towards the end of the season, and it could very well come down to that where, the Guardians are in second place and they got, they're one of the wild card teams, and the Tigers couldn't just come from behind and make it just like they did in 2024. They and then they ended up beating the Astros in the wild card. So yeah, the Tigers are a team to watch out for. The Royals, though, that's the team that's one of the teams right now I'm worried about when it comes to the Yankees playing, because that infield now, especially with the addition of Jonathan India, that's an upgrade for them. And they have a decent lineup, pitching staff, not too bad. I mean, they struggled against guys like Cole Reagans. I mean, that guy was a pain to deal with. But I got Kansas City for 2025, finishing at the top of the division, and then followed by Cleveland. But I could see, like you said, where Detroit could finish second place.
Yeah, it's always tricky, that Central, because the teams could all be really good except for Chicago. We know they're going to be bad, but things always happen with that division. We thought the Twins were going to run away with it, and then they kind of just fell flat last year. But 3 teams still made the playoffs out of that division last year. It wouldn't shock me if it happened again. The American League's, it's not as bad as people might think it is. Everyone says the Yankees had an easy route to the World Series. I mean, they had some troubles with Kansas City and even Cleveland, so I wouldn't want to face Detroit, especially because they could always go get Flaherty back if they wanted to, and then they've got a legit 1-2 at the top of the rotation. Tariq Skubal is arguably the best pitcher in baseball, certainly the best pitcher in the American League, so yeah, that's a good team in Detroit, and they could go get Bregman. There's a lot of these teams that we're talking about that are on the come up, or teams that are, interestingly enough, looking to get Alex Bregman, so he would be an upgrade for them, and they could be in the market for a bat and another arm, and they're ready to go. That they got a really good team.
Yeah, when it comes to postseason, it's never an easy route. I don't care what anybody says. People can talk about, the Yankees played AL Central teams, but again, if the Tigers were as bad as they were, they should have lost to the Astros, right? So. They were good enough to beat the Astros. I mean, the Royals beat the Orioles. The Orioles should have beaten the Royals if you're looking at it on paper, But the Central teams, man, they're scrappy. You know what I mean? Like they're scrappy, just kind of like the AL East teams. The AL East teams, I mean, they're always scrappy. The Yankees can have a great team, but teams like the Rays, they're always giving the Yankees a hard time. The Red Sox, they're going to give the Yankees a hard time. So this isn't like back in the day where the Yankees would just walk all over. The game has changed, baseball has changed, so teams are stepping up. The way they're approaching the game has changed too. So you don't ever count out any team, really. I mean, any team could beat you at any given moment. So, and we've seen that one too many times, obviously. So cool. So, okay. So you got the Royals, Tigers, Guardians, Twins, White Sox. I'm pretty much the same as you. I just have the Guardians finishing second, but they could very well finish third. I was very surprised that they traded away Naylor and Jimenez. It didn't make sense to me, but I have no idea what it is that they're trying to do.
Yeah, I don't get it, because that was a team that was in the ALCS. Obviously, we beat them, but they had a good roster, and it didn't make sense that they traded Naylor for like some random pitcher just to bring in Carlos Santana, who's making more money than Naylor is. It just none of that really made sense. So they kind of weakened their offense a little bit. And it's not like Naylor is a great or a terrible defender. So I don't know if Santana's really an upgrade from Naylor, and the guy they got for Naylor was really necessary for them. It was a weird trade when they put him on the market, and then trading Jimenez also made no sense to me. I know they might have some young kids coming up, but for a team that just got within a few wins of a World Series berth, you'd think that they would add instead of subtracting some of their best players. So I don't get it. That's a good team. They got a good roster. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I think it benefits Kansas City and Detroit that Cleveland decided to get rid of two of their best players, and they haven't really done much of anything this offseason.
Yeah, Naylor. I mean, Naylor, I kind of understand because he's going to be a free agent after this season. So, he was probably going to demand a big contract. And who's to say if the Guardians were going to be able to afford him? So they were just there, probably for a guy like Naylor, they were just like, okay, let's find a trade partner, at least get something back for him. So now he's a 1-year rental with the Diamondbacks, which we'll talk about the Diamondbacks here soon. But I'm thinking that was probably their logic. Is that okay? We traded away Naylor. Let's get something back because we'd rather trade him now than let him hit free agency, and trade him now, get something back for him. I mean, I think that's the reason why. With Jimenez, though, I didn't understand the Jimenez thing. I have no idea why they traded Jimenez. So
that really made me scratch my head when they did that. I was like, why'd you trade him to Toronto? Like, you couldn't have traded him to the National League or something? Like, why'd you have to put him in our division? Because he's a good player.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at their projected depth chart now. The guy they got for Naylor is just like a long relief guy for them so far. Slade Ciccone or Ciccone, I don't know how to say his name, but 25 years old, coming off a season where he had a near 7 ERA. Now, can they fix him? Sure. Cleveland's got a great pitching system over there. So, but I thought they could have got more for Josh Naylor, even for a rental. And it was weird that they put him on the market because he was one of their, if not their best player last year outside of J-Ram. So it was just strange that they traded two of their better players and haven't really upgraded those positions.
Yeah, I'm again not really sure what their game plan is, but we'll see how the season plays out. So that's our predictions for AL Central. So AL West, man. AL West was interesting 2024. Seattle was just blowing everybody away. And then they collapsed. They choked. Like they talk about a choke job, man. Houston came from behind. Houston struggled in the beginning of the season. Then they picked it up and, took over the division. Seattle didn't even make the postseason. Like, that's the crazy part. They didn't even get the wild card spot. You know what I mean? Like, they blew it. They blew it bad, So AL West, I don't know. That's a tough one for me. But I would say Texas Rangers probably finished us at the top of the division if we're looking at the teams. I mean, you got Astros, Mariners, Rangers, A's, and Angels. I was going to say Oakland A's, but I know it's Sacramento. So
it's actually Athletics. They don't even have a city. It's just Athletics.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But what do you got for AL West? AL West, man. That's again another interesting division.
I've learned to never count the Astros out.
True.
Here we go again. They're Alex Bregman. They could bring him back, and then they're even better than they are right now. I think even though they got rid of Tucker, they've at least got Paredes in that Tucker trade. They still have Altuve. They still have Yordan Alvarez. So they still got a good team. Their pitching is an interesting group because I don't think they've replaced Verlander. But Texas on paper should be the best team. With a healthy DeGrom, they brought back Eovaldi. They've got the better pitching, in my opinion, and their offense with Seager and Simeon and Garcia and those guys, I think Texas is going to take the division this year. And then I'd probably go Houston, Seattle, Athletics, and Angels.
That's kind of right there with you, man. So, yeah, I got Rangers, Astros, Mariners, Athletics, Angels. Although, like you said, you never want to count out the Astros, right? You never want to count them out. I think even without Bregman, let's say they don't bring Bregman back, they could still surprise everybody and finish at the top of the division. I don't think Seattle is going anywhere as far as wild card or top of the division. So they have a good pitching staff. Their bats are all right. Their bats are not too bad, but I just, after seeing 2024, I do not see them finishing at the top of the division. And it was so bad that they fired their manager. I think that was justified.
They can't hit. So they need bats desperately because
their bats are, like I said, their bats are okay, but it's nothing to be scared about, I think. But they're strapped for money. That's the thing. They're trying to shop Castillo. Nobody and they haven't been able to make it happen.
Yeah, they have probably the best overall. I think they might have I would say you can easily put them over the Yankees rotation. That's how good that starting five is. But they could have easily went after Christian Walker or Willie Adames. Ha-Seong Kim would have been all these different players that are available or were available would have been perfect fits in Seattle. They're not getting anybody. I know they're strapped for money and all that, but my God, that's a team that every year you think could be a player in October because they have the recipe, a good bullpen, and if you have situational hitting, you're going to win. And man, I wish for their sake they would have some decent hitters, but their offense is just non-existent. They have a Rosarena and a couple of bats, but it's not nearly enough to go win the division. Every time John Morosi gives them the credit, he goes, "Oh, the Mariners are a team you don't want to see in October." They fizzle out. He's done it 2 years in a row. So maybe they just need to avoid the Morosi curse because he's 2 years in a row now. He's mentioned that that's a team you don't want to face in October, and they've just completely fallen flat on their faces. Because that pitching staff, I agree, you don't want to see them. Kirby, Gilbert, Miller, Wu, Castillo, that's a loaded rotation. I wouldn't want to see that group in October. He's right, but every time he says that, they just start to collapse.
Yeah.
But if they added two big bats, Christian Walker would have been a perfect fit for them. And even Santander, they just don't have the money.
Yeah, they're strapped for money, just kind of like the Twins, man. There's a few of these teams in around Major League Baseball that are they're strapped for cash. They can't make any moves. They're trying to shed salary. This is where I'm grateful for the Yankees. Even though they're stuck with certain players, right, and they're stuck with those contracts, they're not in a position where it's like, oh my God, we need to shed some salary. They're still in a good position as far as financials go. So Seattle, it's unfortunate with the situation that they're in, but I don't see them finishing as a wild card team either at all. So. And real quick, we got my boy Max Coverage TV in the building. What up, Max? How's it going? Hopefully you're doing well. And I wanted to address this comment. NFE told me today he's considering giving you one cushion. I ain't giving nobody nothing. And you're still in timeout there, Gusto. Just so you know. And Rob's told me he wasn't happy with you.
Yeah, you can agree with me all you want in the chat, Gusto, but no, trust me. I saw Brad saying that I have the hit list, and I do, but Gusto, you ain't on it yet. But there are two specific people that are on that hit list and ain't coming off of it.
That's funny. Jonathan puts here Bob Nightingale. It's the Cubs as closer. as closer or just late inning reliever for the Astros for Ryan Presley. It's his choice. Tigers are out.
Seems like it's either Cubs or nobody. Because Heyman said earlier it was a really oddly worded tweet, but he said he doesn't want to go east or west, so that leaves the Central. He's already in Texas, so obviously they're not going to trade him to the Rangers from Houston, because that would make a lot of sense for the Astros to do. There's only like a handful of teams that you can trade him to if he wants to stay in that Central area or at somewhere close in the same realm as Texas, even though Chicago's up there. So
right.
I think it's the Cubs or bust, really, for Presley.
Well, I figured maybe he might want to go to the Cubs. I mean, since Tucker's there, you know what I mean? So I thought, he might be cool with going up there. But I think he's from Texas too, Presley, if I'm not mistaken. So I think he's from the Texas area. So I think he'd rather stay put.
Yeah. He probably just wants to stay there. And I don't blame him. That's why players sign these no trade clauses, because they don't want to get traded. And you can see what having a no trade clause can do, because the player has all the control. You can't just flip him in a 3-team trade anywhere to get rid of their contract, or else Ryan Presley would have been traded a week ago.
Yeah, I was really thinking about, trading away Giancarlo for Tristan Casas or Nico Horner. But
no, don't trade for Nico Horner. He's hurt. You can't. No one ever trade for an injured player.
Okay.
You gotta trade Giancarlo to the Giants. You gotta trade Li. You should like to trade him. You gotta trade DJ to anybody to clear his money. And it has to be a 3-team trade. You cannot do a one for one swap. You have to get a third team involved. The Red Sox are gonna get back Sandy Alcantara, who's coming off Tommy John, but nobody trades for injured players, and they're gonna give us one of their best players. So, thank you, Boston Red Sox, because in the world of LI Yankee King's wacky freaking brain, we're going to get one of their best players so they can add a guy coming off Tommy John. But no one's going to trade for Nico Horner because Nico Horner is hurt. I just gave myself, I lowered my own IQ by at least 77 points by just giving that out there. That's not even half of what he said this offseason, guys. But, yeah. I saw him yesterday in your chat driving people nuts. Mazza was losing his mind trying to get through to him. It's a lose-lose situation. Like I said before, Gusto timed me out. You'd have a better chance arguing with a piece of scrap metal.
Yeah, Gusto, I said you could have the garage. I mean, I know you're planning on your trip and you're going to drop your car off, but I was planning on leaving you in there in the garage. So that was just so you know. But I guess this was to you. You can join Li and Sunil on Rob's best buds list.
Take those best buds out of there, Brad, or you're going to join the list too.
Oh my God. But all right. So AL West, pretty much set, right?
Yeah.
So we said Texas Rangers, Houston Astros, then the Mariners,
then
Seattle, then Athletics, and then the Angels.
Yeah.
Although the Angels, I'll say this, man, they made a few additions this offseason. I'm not saying it's anything like crazy, but
then again, it's the Angels. So if Trout gets hurt, I got to support my boy CM Punk. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy he's back. It's been one of the best years at WWE conveniently, and I know AEW misses him, but not talk about wrestling too much. Yeah, the Angels could easily, if Trout goes down for an extended period of time again, which I hate because I love Mike Trout.
Yeah, man.
I wish he'd be healthy because that guy could easily be the best to ever do it if he just never had those injuries. If he's healthy, they got a good chance to win a lot of games. If he gets hurt, then there's really nobody there that can pick up the slack. And that's the thing. That's why Ohtani left. Like, if Trout had been productive and was hitting and they were winning games with Mike Trout, he probably would have stayed because the Angels were trying hard to get him back. So, Mike Trout, Brad, it hinges on him. If he's healthy, they're going to have a good chance to surprise some people. But if he goes down, that team, even though they can spend as much money as they want, they just every time they do it, if Trout misses time, it's game over for them.
Yeah, Trout's a sad story, man. He's such a sad story. Like Trout is, one of the best players to play the game, but injuries, man, have ruined this guy. It just he can never ever get over these injuries. The guy gets hurt a lot. It's sad. It's sad because I'm with you. Like I like Mike Trout, but God, the injuries have just ruined him, and I think it's going to ruin his chances of even getting into the Hall of Fame. I think he's a great player, but yeah, he is a great player. The guy's healthy. He's on, but he can't stay healthy. That's the problem.
You look at his numbers. He's still only, what is he, like 30? 33 at 33.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe he's 33 now, but how many times has he missed, like, I'm trying to look at his games played. Yeah, from 2017 on, he's been getting hurt, like, consistently. So,
yeah.
It's a damn shame. 114, 130. 2021, he only played 36. He only played 29 games last year, 82 the year before, 119 the year before that. Like, you think about if those are healthy seasons, this guy's a clear-cut Hall of Famer. I think he might, if he stays healthy, like the next few years of his career, he can probably push into it, but those injury-plagued seasons may have cost him a chance. But that dude he would have been the best to ever do it.
Yeah, I remember at one point, you always heard a lot of Yankees fans saying, trade for Mike Trout, trade for Mike Trout. I'm sure I'd be down. I would have been down at the time, but the guy gets hurt too much, man. And forget it. If he was a New York Yankee and he was getting hurt with the Yankees, we would never hear the end of it. So I'm glad they don't have him. It pains me to say that, but awesome player. He's kind of like, like Jonathan mentioned, he's kind of like Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly, awesome player. He's just getting hurt a lot. Could never stay healthy, which sucks because both great players. But, we could keep talking about it, but, that's a conversation for a different day. All right, so let's move over to the National League side. So, NL East, is going to be interesting. Obviously, we know Mets have Soto. We already know that. But I don't think you count out the Braves or the Phillies still. The Braves did add Profar yesterday. They added him to a 3-year deal worth $42 million. So that was a good pickup for the Braves. Let's see. I know they're getting some of their players back. I know Strider, I was reading, it doesn't look like he's going to be ready for opening day.
Yeah, they're going to give him a full spring, but he's not going to make the opening day roster. But a fully healthy Braves team could easily win the East.
Absolutely.
That's a good division.
The NL East is going to be
outside of Miami.
Outside of Miami, yeah. The NL East is going to be good. Even the Nationals, they made some additions to their team.
They've made some sneaky good moves, actually.
Yeah,
they got Nathaniel Lowe. For some reason, they got Josh Bell as well. They just picked up a Japanese pitcher today. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try to butcher it. But
the lefty pitcher, yeah.
Yeah, they've made some sneaky good moves this offseason. I like what they've done. I don't think it's enough to make a playoff push, but they've got a good foundation there. They've got some good young talent. I like what they're building. It's been tough, obviously, post-Soto for them, but it wasn't that long ago they won a championship. They've got a decent foundation there, but a lot of ways to go, but I like what they've done.
Yeah, I'm going to attempt to say his name because I was actually trying to say it earlier, but it's Shinosuke Ogasawara.
Just call him Shino. That's what I'll call him.
Yeah, Umaga, Imanaga, whatever,
Shout out Uncle Tats.
Shout out to Uncle Tats. Super soak him. Let's go. Couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
Super soaker. That is probably so far, it's my favorite moment of the year.
There'll be more moments. Don't you wait, man. But or NL East. I'm not going to give it's not because, Soto's with the Mets. If I'm being realistic, and I'm not, it's not because I'm like, I dislike the Mets. I don't see the Mets finishing at the top of the division. I mean, I know they added Soto, or I get that. But the thing with that lineup is that they don't have Judge. They got some bats in that lineup, but none of those guys are Judge. Soto had Judge with him. I mean, Soto had his best career as a Yankee. He played for the Nationals. He had some good years. Did all right he did good with the Padres, but his best career, his best season was with the Yankees. But I honestly, yeah, their lineup is all right. I mean, adding Soto, fantastic. Their starting rotation is, I don't think it's there. I mean, they lost Severino. They brought Manea back. They're going to have Clay Holmes in their starting rotation, which I know Clay Holmes was a starter before. I get that, but I don't know if I trust that. Yeah, I'm not too sure about the Mets. I don't see them finishing at the top of the division. But like you said, if it's a healthy Braves team, I see the Braves finishing at the top of the division.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets bring back Alonso, then they've got some protection right there.
Sure.
Lindor and Alonso and Vientos, that's pretty good guys to have around Juan Soto, but they got to hope that McNeil has a good year. Nimmo has to pretty much continue what he's been doing because he's a solid player.
Mm-hmm.
They need Alvarez to be a good piece, and I think he will be. They got to hope that Vientos repeats what he did last year, actually. But that rotation, I mean, good luck with Clay Holmes. He's your freaking problem now.
Yeah.
I don't know what that decision making was. You spent a lot of money on a relief pitcher. They got Minter. That was a good move, but I thought they would have been more in on Tanner Scott. It's interesting what they've done because everyone thought, oh, Soto was going to open the floodgates for them to go spending like crazy. But outside of Soto, have they really? They brought back Manea, like you said. The Clay Holmes signing as a starter makes zero sense to me when they could have easily given that money to like a Flaherty or something like that because they have the pockets for it. I really don't know what else they're going to do because Heyman, or was it Sherman, put out a report earlier today, like a few hours ago. They're telling Brent Beatty and Vientos to work out at first. It kind of tells you they're moving on from Alonso.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, the whole Mets are going to go spending and go, it's Uncle Steve's pocketbook. He's going to open it up. And he hasn't really because they've been kind of budget conscious after the Soto move. And I thought they would have had so much more to spend, but that's the thing. Everyone kept saying they have to get starting pitching, and they did add two. One of them made no sense, and they haven't really addressed the bullpen entirely outside of Minter. So we'll see. I think that's a team that, to me, should be really good because of Juan Soto, but is there enough around Juan Soto to get past Philly, who I think is winning that division, and Atlanta? I think the Mets will finish third, and I think they'll make the playoffs, which is going to be an interesting National League. Although I could easily see the Mets being second. I just think the Phillies are too good, and the Phillies didn't really lose anybody significant. They still got one of the best rotations and one of the best lineups. So I'm going to go Phillies. I'll go Phillies, Mets, Braves, Nationals, Marlins.
Okay.
It's because I don't know if Acuna is going to be his usual self. Because the last time he got hurt, it took him a little while to get himself going again. If Acuna and Strider were 100%, then I'd pick the Braves to win the whole division. But those two being out for any period of time and maybe not being 100% this year is really going to hinder their chances to beat the Phillies and Mets.
Yeah, I think the Braves could surprise, man. This might be a bold prediction on my part because really I was saying Phillies, but I think the Braves could surprise. I could see the Braves finishing at the top of the division. Then you got the Phillies. I got the Mets finishing third, but could the Mets finish second? Absolutely, they can. I don't see the Mets winning the top of the division though. If they had a better starting rotation, sure, I could see them finishing first place. But I got them finishing third, and I'm surprised. The Mets haven't really gone out and spent money like that. I mean, I think we were all expecting them to go out and get every and any player, just like the Dodgers were. But the Dodgers are the ones signing everybody and their mother. So, it's like they're the ones making it happen, really. But yeah, I have the Marlins finishing last. I don't think they're going to be irrelevant. And I got the Nationals finishing fourth. But the Nationals are going to be a pain in that division because, again, they made some additions.
No, I like what they've done. I think in a couple of years they're going to be a much more formidable opponent. But for now, they might be a team that, let's not forget, the Athletics kind of surprised some people last year. They could be following a similar trajectory where they surprise some people with their record, and then maybe next year they go spend a little bit more money to add to the roster. So I wouldn't count out the Nationals, but they're not going to make the playoffs. But I wouldn't be surprised if they finish close to 500.
The Nationals, I think they'll finish close to 500. They might be slightly above 500, not by much.
Above, wow, okay. I don't know if they'll get there. I think they'll be slightly. Yeah. I think they'll be below it, but they could get to that point. And if they do, that would have incentivized them to maybe spend a little more next year, which is what you want to see. Yeah. So that creates the parity that the league is so dead set on searching for.
Yeah, when I say slightly above 500, I'm talking like 82 and 80 or something. You know what I mean? Like something along those lines. I'm not expecting them to be way over 500. Just like maybe 2 games above 500. Maybe 1 game above 500. That's kind of what I was thinking. But close to 500, that's definitely, that's definitely reasonable. But I could see them potentially finishing just 1 or 2 games above 500 because they could surprise you. So, we'll see. But yeah, I'm my bold prediction, Braves, Phillies, Mets, Nationals, Marlins. That's where I'm at. And then you have the Phillies.
Yeah, Mets. I got Phillies, Mets, Braves, and then
so a little different. All right.
Yeah,
I can respect that. All right, another tricky division, NL Central, just like the AL Central. Personally, I have a hard time picking who's going to finish in first place. One thing I will say, I don't think it will be St. Louis. You're muted.
Oh, my bad. No, I was agreeing with you. I think they're probably the worst team in that division right now, and they got some talent there. They still got Sonny Gray. They still have Arenado for now. They have Brendan Donovan, who every Yankee fan and their mother wants right now for good reason. They've got some good young talent, but for whatever reason, they can't put it together. That's a team that could have been contenders for a championship a couple of years ago. I think one team's making the playoffs out of the Central because the rest of the National League's just too loaded. So whoever wins the Central, I don't think there's going to be another team that makes it. I'm giving it to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chicago with Kyle Tucker, they've made the most additions. I like the Brewers. I really do. But they did trade Devin Williams, obviously, to us. They have Nestor Cortez now, but they lost their closer. I'm not too sure. And I think the Cubs, if they get Presley, then they're going to be even more loaded. And they're heavily in on Bregman. I brought his name up like for 4 different teams already. But if they went and got Alex Bregman, I think the Cubs are going to go and win that Central. And then it will probably be Brewers, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis.
So you got St. Louis finishing last?
Yeah.
Okay. Jonathan says Milwaukee will win the NL Central, but for me, it's a toss-up for me, man, between Milwaukee and the Cubs. Milwaukee did lose Adames. So, that's gonna hurt them a little bit. Their starting rotation, I'm not too sure about their pitching. I don't know. I have question marks with Milwaukee. I could see them finishing second. I got to say the Cubs, man. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say, but I think I got to go Cubs, Milwaukee, probably the Reds. I mean, third place could be Reds or Pirates. I mean, both teams, I feel like are going to be a pain for the AL Central teams. And Cincinnati they have Terry Francona now. So
that's right, they do.
Yeah, they have Terry Francona as their manager, and Francona was one guy I really wanted the Yankees to go after. If he was available, you know what I mean? Like I really after Joe Torre, if Francona was available, I really wanted the Yankees to go after him. I like Terry Francona. I'm a Tito fan, and I've had some former players on the show, and they had nothing but great things to say about Tito. So they really liked Terry Francona. But yeah, man, I'm not, I'm not going to sleep. Like D-Rod said, don't sleep on the Reds. I'm not sleeping on him, because he did some good things with the Guardians. So, I still have them finishing third place though. If they were to finish second, I would not be surprised, because they got a good young team. They have some talent on that team.
Yeah, they got they're getting that dude back who was suspended. What the hell is his name? The third base, Marte. Is it Noelvi Marte? I think he's supposed to be coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have De La Cruz. I'm looking at their team now. They did get Gavin Lux, so that was a pretty good addition for them.
That was a good addition. They did lose. Obviously, they traded away Jonathan India, but
yeah, but they got Singer in that trade, so their rotation's better.
Mm-hmm.
I like their pitching. I think if they go and add maybe another starter, but more than likely get a bullpen arm, like a good back end. Like if they got Estevez for their closer position, because Alexis Diaz is a little too up and down.
Yeah.
That could be a really big move for them. That's a team that could really surprise some people. So, did I have them third or fourth? I'm going to put them third over Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. I want to see the Pirates be good because I love McCutchen. It's kind of like a bias for McCutchen, but the Reds are much better than the Pirates on paper. So I'll go change it. Cubs. Now I kind of want to put them second now that I'm looking at their team, but I'll go Cubs.
Reds,
Brewers,
right? Yeah,
Reds. Yeah.
I mean, they have a decent team.
I'll put them third for now, but I might change that in like a few minutes. But I'll go Cubs, Brewers, Reds, Pirates, and Cardinals.
Yeah, I got Cubs. Yeah, I got Cubs, Brewers, Reds, Pirates, Cardinals. I'm right there with you, but I don't be surprised if the Reds finish second. Just do not be surprised, because now that they have Francona as their manager, it could very well change things in the NL Central. I mean, Francona's he's an awesome manager. So, I feel like he's the perfect manager for that team. So, a bunch of young guys, you can guide them. So
they'll be interesting to watch. Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So the NL Central, just like the AL Central, watch out for both of those divisions. It's gonna be a tight race. So, we'll see what happens. So, last but not least, the NL West. I think we both agree who's going to finish at the top of that division.
It's more of who's going to be finishing second, right?
Yeah, second. I mean, if I had to pick right now, I'd say it's the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I have them second as well.
And real quick, I was going to say your camera went a little blurry. I think you're okay now. It's starting to come back.
Can you hear me okay, though?
I can hear you. Yeah, hearing you.
Okay.
No problem.
It's a bit windy out here where I am, so the connection might be getting a little messed up.
Okay. But, Dodgers, Diamondbacks. I would say Padres third, but they're in a lot of trouble, not just financial, just ownership wise too. as an organization, there are some issues with the organization. So, but I'll still put them finishing third. And then I got the Giants, and then the Rockies. Rockies are finishing dead last. They're not going nowhere.
Yeah. Obviously Dodgers, Arizona. I got San Francisco third.
Okay.
And then I'll have, but I don't want to count out San Diego. But if they're trading away players and trying to cut salary, like if they got rid of Cease and Arias and possibly even Cronenworth could be on that list of guys they could move. I don't know if like Tatis and Machado are enough to carry them. So I think San Francisco's done a lot. I like the addition of getting Verlander in there. I love Adames. I think that was a huge addition. And they could still potentially add, because they have deep pockets as well. So I think it'll be San Francisco third. But Arizona getting Corbin Burns is huge. That was such a good move. And D-Rod's right. You can argue they have the best rotation in the National League. I still think the Dodgers have the best, but Arizona is like right there with them. At full strength, that's a scary rotation.
Yeah, no, watch out. I would say watch out for the Diamondbacks starting rotation. They could be, as much as the Dodgers have a great lineup, they got the bats. The Diamondbacks rotation, man, could give them some trouble. You know, they most definitely can. So, yeah, I don't know, but Dodgers definitely first place, Diamondbacks second. Giants, Padres. I mean, assuming that the Padres don't trade Dylan Cease and Luis Arias, I think that I got them finishing third as of right now. You know what I mean? But that could change. But the Giant, even then though, I think the Giants, I see them being a fourth place team. They added Verlander and Adames, but they haven't really done anything else. They're still needing to make improvements. They're kind of like, in a way, they're kind of like the Blue Jays. Like they are in on some of these players, but then the players go sign elsewhere. So that's why honestly, I don't see the Giants being the third place team.
I mean, they're going to get Lee back healthy. They got Robbie Ray, Yankee legend. Their bullpen's a bit of a question mark, though.
Yeah.
So that's another team that could afford to add to that bullpen right now, and maybe even one more bat, because there was some interest, I think, earlier in Ha-Sung Kim, and they were looking to trade Lamont Wade Jr. So
yeah,
if they moved him, so would they go, maybe if they sign Kim and he gets healthy in a couple of months, he can play second or third for that, or no, he plays second.
But Lamont Wade is a first baseman, though.
Yeah, so if they trade a Lamont Wade, they can move Flores to first, because right now he's a DH.
Right.
And I think Flores has played some first base in his career, so they could go that route, or they can keep Wade for the year, but they might look to move a guy, like if there's a team that still needs a first baseman.
Yeah, and like Graham said, the Giants do have holes. I mean, they have holes in their team. So, as of right now, I have them finishing fourth place in the division. But I do. Yeah, exactly, Graham. Their rotation does have issues. They need another starting pitcher, and they need two bats. So they have some work to do. So as of right now, I do have them finishing fourth place, honestly. So that's just what I think. And what's Johnny Owen saying here? He's saying, you are aware that AJ Preller's tenure, 11 years, no division titles, no pennants, and no World Series appearances, 190 win season, 13 years. No one is scared of the Padres. Well, yeah, nobody in the NL. I mean, the Dodgers are certainly not afraid of the.
They're not afraid of anybody.
Yeah. So.
Only thing the Dodgers might be afraid of is the IL, because if any of those, even if they lost like Ohtani and Yamamoto, they have like 6 other guys that can step in and give them quality innings that are Gonsolin, May, Bobby Miller's a guy that can start for them. They're loaded. I don't think the Dodgers are afraid of anybody. But yeah, the Padres are interesting because they have all this talent, and they should be a 90-plus win team every year.
Right.
with the talent, even with the money issues. Like even last year, they traded Soto, and they were able to flip one of those players to get Dylan Cease, and they had a really good team. But this year they lost Profar now. They haven't really added anybody significant, at least from what I can remember. So, I mean, they still have a good team for now, but all we keep hearing is they're trying to trade players. So, what are they going to be? They just got Marinaccio today. Is that their big move? Because I haven't really seen anything. Yeah, looking at their tracker for the offseason, they haven't really done anything. But
yeah, no, they haven't. They're another one of those teams that, they haven't made any moves, right? So, which is, it's crazy, man. You would think the Padres when they got Machado, they got Tatis Jr., they had Soto, you would have thought, man, like this team is legit. Like this is a superstar team. They could blow the division away. They could blow other teams away, but nope. Not the case. Okay, Dodgers re-signed Chris OK to minor league deal. Okay.
I'll give it time. He'll be pitching to an ERA of like 0.3 in September.
Yamamoto, Glasnow, Gonsolin, Otani, Snell, May, Sasaki, Ryan, Knack, Ferris, Kershaw. I mean, look at that, man.
That's disgusting. Like
that is insane.
But D-Rod does bring up a good point. All those guys do have injury histories, but that's also a reason why they've stocked up on the bullpen, because not only did they just get Tanner Scott, they got Kirby Yates, and they're going to get guys back healthy in the bullpen this year. So they only need to get, like, realistically, with that bullpen, they really only need like 5 or 6 from their starters. And they can go 6-man rotation because that's going to benefit Otani. That'll benefit Sasaki. Like, oh, he's a catcher? I didn't know that. I had no idea who that was. Okay, fine. Yeah. He'll hit 3 home runs in like a matter of one game for them in September. That's what they do with these random players. Yeah, just that Dodger team is loaded. That roster is loaded top to bottom. They can afford injuries. They can afford a 5-man or 5 innings from the starters, really, if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, Dodgers made themselves a destination, by adding Otani. Now, they got obviously they have a huge fan base. They've always had a huge fan base. Now they got a whole country rooting for him. And now they're, what it's looking like now is that they're gonna get more players from Japan probably. I mean, they have a huge advantage when it comes to the Japanese market. And it's LA, it's warm, nice weather, so they got a lot going for them, man. I mean, they're doing everything right. I mean, would I be, am I gonna be surprised if they win the World Series this season? No, I'm sure I will not be surprised. I sure as hell will not be surprised. So they could very well do it. They could do it again. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Graham, I understand what you're saying. They have to, it has to happen on the field first. But let's not forget they just won the whole thing, and they've gotten better. So. Yeah. I know it sounds like, because on our show in the mornings, we've been hyping them up and we've been giving them a lot of praise for what they've done, because we would like to see our team operate, not in the sense of spending all that money, but adding the best talent you can at positions of need. The Dodgers needed help in the rotation, in the bullpen, and on offense, and they did that. And they didn't let a budget stop them from doing that. Now, I know that their financial situation is different than the Yankees, so I'm not going to say they should go match them dollar for dollar, but the Dodgers said, we're going to bring in Conforto, but it's not going to stop us from bringing back Teoscar Hernandez. We're also going to extend Tommy Edman just because we can. We already have a good rotation, but let's go get Blake Snell. And on top of that, let's just get that Sasaki deal out of the way. That was already agreed upon last year, let's be honest. And you know what? We need some help in the bullpen, even though it's pretty good. Let's go get the best available bullpen arm. And why not? Let's get another guy that can close in Kirby Yates. So they're addressing their needs, and they're getting some of the best talent that was available at those positions. So while it's not a guarantee they win it, because how many times have the Yankees had the best roster on paper, especially in the 2000s, and didn't win? They got bounced out in the first round quite a bit.
Yeah.
05, 06, 07, 3 years in a row. Probably the best roster in the entire league on paper. Didn't matter. So, yeah, anything can happen. And they almost got bounced out last year by the Padres. But just saying, on paper and what they've been able to do this offseason on the heels of winning a championship, I got to respect it. Because it's what you want a team that has the resources they do and that the Yankees do. Let's be honest here. The Yankees can afford to do these things as well. It's what you want them to do. Make sure if you're the best at the top of the mountain, you stay at the top of the mountain. And that's what they're doing. So I got to respect it.
Yeah, and this I'm sorry, but this whole talk of them ruining baseball, no. You know what? Other teams should be out there spending money too. The Cubs owner, I think it was, said something about breaking even. I don't want to hear that. Cubs, granted, they may not have the same amount of money as like some of the big teams like the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, obviously. But they have a strong fan base. They still have. I mean, I know that's irrelevant, but Cubs are still considered a well-known team. You could go out there and spend money. Yeah, you can. A lot of these owners can. They choose not to, and that's where, I get. You and I kind of talked about it earlier there, Rob. This is where I get annoyed, where teams that spend get penalized, and these teams that don't spend, they don't get penalized, but they benefit off of the revenue sharing. But I'm glad that teams like the Marlins are going to get hit with these grievances, because they haven't spent any freaking money this offseason. But yeah, it's just annoying, and I think in the next CBA meeting that they have, they certainly need to talk about it, because if I'm an owner, I mean, I know for the Dodgers it's not an issue, but they're owned by Guggenheim. They're a hedge fund. So, money's not an object for them. It's not an issue for them, so they can make money at any time, unless if the economy collapses, then yeah, they might be in some trouble. But, yeah, other teams can go out there and spend money. They just choose not to.
The Marlins are probably the biggest problem. Everyone thought it was the Athletics up until this year, and they were, and I still think what they're doing is a load of crap. They waited till they left Oakland to start spending, but they're doing it so they can avoid a grievance, because they think they had to get permission to still get revenue sharing last year. It was either last year or the year before, they had to get permission from the PA to get revenue sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So teams are obviously aware of grievances that are going to be filed against them for not spending. Why on earth the Miami Marlins can't afford to have a $100 million payroll? They can. The Rockies can.
Yeah.
The Athletics can, and everyone thought they had no money. Tampa Bay can. I know Tampa Bay's got a little bit of a different situation because of what happened with their stadium, but they can afford to have a $100 million payroll. Every team in baseball should. If you're able to own a Major League Baseball team, you should be able to at least have a payroll, luxury tax payroll that goes to the $100 million mark. But the fact that we have teams like the Marlins who are trading any player they want, even if they're under control, it's really a shame that this is what, because ideally that's a location that should be selling out. Miami, it's right in the middle of the freaking city of Miami. Like, it's a great stadium. I love going there because you can go to any part of that ballpark and watch the game. You don't even have to sit in your seat. So
yeah,
it's a great stadium. I like going there, but the team stinks. So
yeah,
no one wants to go watch them. And it's only until teams like the Yankees or the Mets and these big market teams come in. When the Dodgers go to town, they're going to have a ton of Dodgers fans there. And then you'll have the fake Marlins fans show up, but nobody wants to watch them go play. Why? The team sucks. Mm-hmm. And the owners don't invest. That's why Derek Jeter left. That's why Kim Ng wanted out of there. That's a terribly run organization. Previous ownership was bad. Jeter had a vision. They didn't want to go with it, so he got out of there. And now they're trading guys like Jake Berger, who's on a not even arbitration yet, and they're trading him away for a box of marbles, basically. So I don't know what they're doing. And they traded Luzardo. You're right, D-Rod. They traded Luzardo.
Yeah.
Like I look at I brought this up a couple of times now on Chronicles. If you look at their payroll page, they have one player that's like under an actual contract. Everybody else is either arbitration or pre-arbitration. So what they're doing is an absolute sham, and they should not get a single cent of revenue sharing because it's not going to the payroll. I'm looking at it right now. Their current payroll is 67 million, and that's nothing. Like Juan Soto makes 50 million on his own. Their estimated luxury tax is 83 million. You gotta file a grievance against that. It's a joke what they're doing.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It really is. So yeah, you definitely have to file a grievance against them. And the Rockies, yeah, forget it. They don't spend money on their team. I've been living in the state, Colorado, for a long time. They've only made, to my knowledge, they have only made it to the playoffs like a couple of times, or postseason a couple of times. Back, 07, they had a good team. And then in 2018, they had a freaking great team in 2018. Since then, and all those years, they've had good players, but just could never do anything. So yeah, the Rockies ownership, man, those guys they don't spend. Marlins, it's so annoying, very annoying what they're doing. At least the Oakland A's should I just the A's or the Athletics? Sorry, I'm so used to saying Oakland, but they're doing, at least they're doing something. They're trying something. I mean, and the Marlins used to be, they got a couple of World Series under their belt, man. That team used to compete. They used to compete big time. Not anymore. So
I've been in the state of Florida for a very long time. And
how many years?
How old am I? Longer than I can remember. It's been well over 20 years that I've been in the state of Florida.
Okay.
And I still can't say the name of the state correctly. It's the New Yorker's still in there that I can't say with an O. I say it with an A. Florida. But
Florida.
I can't tell you how many Marlins games I've been able to go to for the price of what today would be maybe even a gallon of gas. It is a joke. Nobody wants to go watch that team play unless a big market team is coming. It's only if they're winning, and they don't win a lot. It's Coconuts just said it. They only made the playoffs like once or twice since they won the World Series, and even after the World Series, they blew up the roster.
Yeah.
How they still have a team is actually a bit of a mystery. I know Florida, they need to have teams in the state because it should be a big market, but they're so bad. And if you think about it, like the Miami Heat, they're getting people to go. I know they're in an interesting situation because the Jimmy Butler thing, he wants to get traded, but they've been a finals contender like almost regularly since the start of 2010s. Even after LeBron left, they were in the finals in 2020. They were a contender a few years ago, so they get people going to the games. Look at football. The Dolphins, as bad as they can be at times, they still got people going. So it's not like it's a bad area to go watch a team. If the team wins, people will go watch. That's just how things work. But that organization put zero effort into that roster, and they put zero effort into winning to a point when they win, they blow up the team. So I'm in South Florida, guys, so it's not snowing. It's just like really chilly. It's beautiful out, by the way. But yeah, I'm in the South area. I'm not going to give away my exact location. Some of you freaks might be out there, but yeah, it's South Florida.
You might get kicked out of your own home.
Yeah, so. I might get timed out of my own house from Gusto.
Rob's gonna give you a hard time with that one for the rest of your life now, there, Gusto. So congratulations.
Yeah. Time me out from my own. You're gonna see me just disappear from the screen. You'll know that Gusto got me.
There you go, Gusto. You're gonna time out Rob now out of his own house. That's sad.
And Gusto, actually, it's not even. I know there's a ton of trust me. Like I'll walk down the street here or anywhere and go shopping and I'll see someone with a Yankee hat and be like, what part of New York you from? I get that. But if you go to like a Marlins game, there's plenty of, not a Marlins, a Dolphins game, there's plenty of people wearing the Dolphins colors and, I've been here for my entire life. It's not all New York transplants. It's just the team is not good. The Marlins are not good. The Rays are not good. There's reasons why. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, perfect example. They are a good team, even after Tom Brady left. And people go to those games all the time. An old coworker of mine was never into football. They live in the Tampa Bay area now. They got season tickets because the team wins. So it's just like, if you win, people will go. That's the thing. The Marlins have zero interest in investing in that team. So why go watch them? Because I can tell you this right now. I brought this up a couple of times already on the Chronicles. The World Baseball Classic is one of the most fun experiences you can have as a baseball fan. I went for a USA versus Puerto Rico. I've never had that much fun at a baseball game.
Wow. Okay.
And it is a party in the stands for a World Baseball Classic game because the area is filled with people, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Cuba. It should be a haven for fans of the game, but the Marlins suck, so nobody wants to go. That's how it is. I can tell you right now, people, if the Marlins were good and worth watching, they would go watch them play. Because that I want to go to another World Baseball Classic game. It is so much fun. I'm telling you guys right now, if you have a chance to go to one of those games, go. And go to one of those games in the Miami Marlins Stadium, because it is a hell of a time.
There you go. You just heard it from Rob. Go to a World Baseball Classic game. Go to a Dolphins game. Go to a Marlins game. It's a blast.
Don't go to a Dolphins game. The Dolphins stink. Screw them. I'm just saying the Marlins Stadium is a great stadium. It really is. They got rid of that. Thank God Jeter got rid of that weird thing they had. But they have this like bar in left field. I don't even drink, but I sat there for one game. It was it was an awesome experience. You're right behind the left field wall, and you can see the entire stadium. It's a great place to go watch a ball game. Unfortunately, the team sucks.
Oh, Marlins. So Brad is saying you left off the Jaguars.
No, that's AEW territory, and screw them. So
yeah, we won't get into AEW versus WWE. We know who's better. So yeah, I'm not a Tony Khan fan. Can't stand that guy. But anyway, maybe they'll have the WBC at Steinbrenner Field. Yeah, maybe they might. Who knows? Yeah, Rob still definitely does have the New York attitude. No,
it'll never leave you.
Yeah, like, I have it too. So
yeah, you can. Once you have it, it's implanted in you. Especially if you have well, you guys have seen my father on this channel, so you know where I get it from.
Oh yeah, I had your dad on here a couple times. that was awesome. Yeah, he wanted to come on for his birthday. I'm like, yeah, let's go, Mr. Barros. Let's get you on. Let's talk a little baseball. Yeah, let's go. Let's talk a little baseball.
Yeah, it's a tempered it's a watered down version of him. But if you want to know a true New Yorker, there you go.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen your dad in the chats in quite some time, but we'll have to get him back up here sometime. I know he's been chomping at the bit to go on with you guys over at Pinstripe.
I know. I think he's just been he's been a little bit under the weather lately, so I think he's just getting some rest in there. Plus, it's probably freezing where he is in New York. So.
Oh, for sure.
Knowing that area, he might not even have Wi-Fi right now.
Oh, dang! All right. Yeah, I know it's been freezing here, man. Where I've been, it's been cold everywhere. It seems like everywhere in the country. I mean, yeah, temperatures are going to drop a little bit tonight. Tomorrow they're expecting a little bit of snow. Nothing, doesn't seem like it's anything wild, but looks like the temperatures are going to. Yeah, well, I'm just ready for baseball season. I'm ready for spring to be here already. So, March 28th. So, 64 days away. Seems like a long time, but it really isn't. And then, your first spring training game is the 21st, I believe. So February 21st. So we're 27 days away from that. Pitchers and catchers reporting here in the next few weeks. So, yeah, baseball season's upon us, and it can't get here soon enough. I'm ready because I'm ready to go. Do my pre games again and do some of my play by plays, and yeah, we're gonna have a blast. Good 2025. So, but that's what we got right now, folks. That's what we got right now. I appreciate Rob coming on here again. Talking predictions for each division. He had hit me up last night about, hey, are you going to go live? And I'm like, yeah, maybe. Let's, just trying to figure out what the hell we should talk about. So I'm like, you know what? Let's talk predictions of divisions, man, because I feel like we talk the Yankees. We talk a lot of Yankees news enough. I mean, we do. So, I was like, let's change it up a little bit. But I do appreciate you, Rob. And if you guys are not subscribed to Pinstripe Chronicles, make sure you guys subscribe to the Pinstripe Chronicles podcast. They do a good job over there with Rob, Donald, Uncle Tats. So if you don't, super soaker time.
And I got a hit list too, so I'll remember you all. But no, come over. We are doing a giveaway on our last episode. We did this morning. So CT Cards, who's obviously, I think he's still in your chat right now. He's done it for your channel, so he sent a few cards over to Uncle Tats, and we're doing a giveaway for the first batch of them. And it's based around, since we had the Hall of Fame, a few Hall of Famers, Johnny Bench and Nolan Ryan. All you have to do is just go to our latest episode, subscribe to the channel, make sure you're subbed up, and comment 1,000, because we're doing it in celebration of our 1,000 subscriber mark. So just comment 1,000. You'll be entered. If you want to get an extra entry, it's entirely up to you. You can send a super sticker. That'll get you a second entry. And on Monday's episode, we'll do a wheel spin to see who wins the cards. And the cutoff is Sunday at 11, because that is when Lynn and Sierra will be live for the Upper Deck. So you've got a good 24 plus hours to get your entries in. So if you want to head on over to the channel, our latest episode that we just put out this morning, just drop a comment, 1,000. As long as you're subbed to the channel, you are entered. And you can win a couple of really cool cards from some Hall of Fame players, courtesy of CT Cards.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, CT Cards is the man. And I hope CT Cards, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but I hope you're all right, man. I hope you're doing okay. I know you've been staying in touch with me about your health and whatnot. So I know it's been a little rough. So, we're thinking of you. Yeah, he sent me a bunch of cards along with one of the other subscribers. They were sending me a bunch of baseball cards, which is totally appreciated. It does mean a lot to me. It really does. So I've done a couple of giveaways as well. Did some duck races. So, and the duck race thing, that was something that was done on Hector's channel. So I got it from him, but it's cool. Like, the duck races are cool. So I enjoy doing them. But I will definitely do some card giveaways on opening day. No doubt. I might end up doing 4 or 5 cards. I might end up giving up 4 or 5 cards that day for opening day. So stay tuned. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I might do 2 on a pregame, 2 or 3 in a pregame, and then 2 during a play-by-play, or just do all 5 on a pregame. I don't know. But opening day, though, I'm definitely doing some giveaways. So stay tuned. I'll have more details as we get closer to opening day. But again, I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Rob, thanks for coming on. Make sure you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe, share this channel out with everyone you know. We're on the road. The Strike Zone is on the road to 1,500 subscribers. So we're almost there. So anybody watching this, hit that subscribe button and join in on the crew. Join the Strike Zone. Thank you all for coming on. Obviously, if news comes out, we'll put the news out there. go live, go put out a short, whatever. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend. There's football on Sunday, so go enjoy football. Hopefully your team is still in it. But until then, have a good night. See you all next time.